All right, next next image I have here, next video we're talking about today. Do you know what's the most Orwellian thing that you can think of in 2021? The most Orwellian thing I can think of is George Orwell's 1984 to actually be rewritten for feminists. That's Orwellian in and of itself. And so, of course, because the creativity of many people coming out of college and or that are in movies and cinema and writing books, their creativity on a scale of 1 to 10 is the square root of pi. Like, it's nothing. It's 1.4. So George Orwell's 1984 to be rewritten for feminists, that is the most Orwellian thing I could think of. First, I have a loss here of the day. I'm going to start including these in some of these segments too to break them up a little bit. This is, again, we talk about the blue hair and the womanists. New York Post. I have this girl says, I tattooed freckles on my face thinking they'd fade. And of course they won't. This girl has a butterfly on her neck, and you can see she has some chest tattoos and something over her left eyebrow and something under her right eye and something on her right temple and something on her right cheekbone. This girl is tattooed. And here's the funny part. Yes, she tattooed freckles thinking they'd fade, but at no point of that do I see a loss. Why? Your face is already marked all up. This reminds me of when you and your buddies went out drinking at a frat party or something, and one of the dudes passes out and you grabbed a Sharpie and drew stuff on his face. That's what she looks like to me. And the freckles make her look like Howdy Doody. And that is a really old reference. Some of you older gentlemen will get that one. Howdy Doody is a puppet, a real creepy puppet from like the 1950s or 60s. But she looks like an absolute goof. But you know she's of the blue-haired ilk because she's dyed her hair platinum silver. Anyway, from The Guardian, books, feminist retelling of 1984 approved by Orwell's estate. George Orwell right now, if you were to hook up magnets and wrap his coffin in copper wire, he would be spinning so fast he could generate enough power for at least 2/3 of New York City. And why is Orwell's estate approving this? It's all about that money, baby. They're probably going to get a segment of the movie deal and or book deal and or whatever. I'm telling you right now, I don't know. No one's going to read this. No one of any sound mind is going to read this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. American writer Sandra Newman's novel, Julia, will tell the dystopian story from the perspective of Winston Smith's lover. This is from the movie. Goodish movie, like if you just want the bare basics of 1984, but the book is much, much, much better, of course, like everything. The estate of George Orwell has approved a retelling of 1984, which reimagines the story from the perspective of Winston Smith's lover, Julia. Opening with one of literature's most famous lines, "It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Orwell's 1949 novel is set in a dystopian future where Great Britain, known as Airstrip 1, is part of the totalitarian state of Oceania. Big Brother rules supreme, and the thought police stamp out any individual thinking, much like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and other social media. Winston Smith works at the Ministry of Truth, rewriting history to suit Big Brother's narrative. Again, much like social media today. He starts out in a forbidden affair with Julia, who works on the novel writing machines in the fiction department, until both are captured and sent to re-education via Room 101. The thing is that George Orwell used the character of Winston Smith as kind of the way to tell the story of 1984. The story was about Winston Smith, but it was more about the dystopia. So to then say, okay, let's now talk about Julia, you're missing the point. The point isn't to talk about the characters as much as it is to point out the dystopia. And again, this is another situation where they're saying, we we hear book writers, movie people, whatever, we have nothing left. Our gas tank is dry because anything new that we write might offend the thought police. So we're just going to rewrite things that already occurred. And if you don't like it, well, you can't blame us because it already occurred. We were just trying to reimagine it. But the fact that they're rewriting this book during a time when thought police and social media are stamping out ideas they don't like, and there's so many things you can't talk about, and now they're like, hey, let's rewrite the book. Now, here's what's funny. Are they going to rewrite the book in a modern setting where instead of talking about the ministry of truth and Big Brother, they start talking about social media and the government? No, of course they're not going to. So what's the point of even doing the rewriting? No one cares about Julia's view on this. They say, in Julia, by Sandra Newman, the incidents of 1984 are seen through the woman's eyes. It was the man from Records who began it. Him, all-knowing in his prim, grim way, his above-it-all odd-think way. He was this one Syme called the Old Misery, writes Newman. Comrade Smith was his right name, though comrade never suited him somehow. Of course, if you felt foolish calling someone comrade, far better not to speak to them at all. Publisher Granta said that Julia understands the world of Oceania far better than Winston did.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
A woman understands the world far better than the man did. Shocking. Of course she did. Far better than Winston, and is essentially happy with her life. As Orwell puts it in 1984, in some ways she was far more accurate than Winston, far less susceptible to party propaganda. She also stirred a sort of envy in him by telling him that during the 2 minutes hate, her great difficulty was to avoid bursting out laughing. But she only questioned the teachings of the party when they in some way touched upon her own life. Often she was ready to accept the official mythology simply because the difference between truth and falsehood did not seem important to her. They go on to say more about Julia's thoughts, but let's be honest. They just say Julia will be published after Granta releases Newman's new novel, The Men, in which every single person with a Y chromosome vanishes from the world next June. Yeah, they tried doing that in a TV show. It was canceled after one season. There is nothing unique. There's nothing unique left anymore. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take some of the great writers of our time, the great movies of our time, like Ghostbusters. To me, Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, I like Ghostbusters 2 okay. Ghostbusters was where it's at for me. And they rewrote it with the 4 female leads, and it was awful. Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 10, and they rewrote with Ocean's 8 with all women, and it was awful. Not because it was just women, but you're taking the idea of the premise, or you're taking the premise of the idea and saying we're out of gas. The tank is empty. What do we do to re-spark this? Let's rewrite it from a woman's point of view. It's lazy. It's just lazy. It's pandering and it's lazy. Thor: Love and Thunder, the new movie coming out where I guess now you're going to have, oh gosh, what is her name from the Star Wars movies? The skinny chick that played Amala. I'm not a Trekkie guy, I think I just offended every single one of my viewers. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm a fan of the original trilogy, but I'm old man Joker's not into all the new movies, and I didn't think they were very good. I know I'm losing like 4,000 subs after I say all this stuff. I'm also not a Trekkie either, if you can tell. But I forget the actress that plays Amada, whatever. I'm just Anyway, the point is she played Thor's love interest, and now she's going to be Thor. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. And so you're going to have like a 105-pound girl being Thor. That's not going to work. I've made so many of you angry, and I really didn't mean. Just understand something. I hate Hollywood, and I have for a long time. I think they ran out of creativity 15 or 20 years ago. So when I watch these movies, like I'll watch them and I give them a shot, and I'll watch them and see if they're interesting. I give them a shot. Usually they're a one and done, and I keep going back to the older movies that I like. So please take no offense that I don't know any of these actors or actresses. I watched the movie once and I'm just kind of like, whatever. So that's on me. You guys can like it. You can say it's awesome. Just understand that I don't pay attention to this stuff. So I apologize for that one.